are back at House Flipper 2. I made a house on a little suburban street. See the pretty little street? And this was on a floor plan that I found online. This kind of European-esque style, design, aesthetic home that has a courtyard, which that was kind of the part that I was excited about. So, let me see. We'll do an aerial here. Have to kind of do the roofing thing to do the aerial. We're kind of right up along the front of the property line, so that's as far back as I can go. Ooh, look, I missed a stripe. Oh, well, whatever. But this is the front of the house, so it kind of has this little guest room over here to the right that's kind of detached from the home, you'll see. But then that's kind of the big part of the home there to the left, and then it kind of wraps around to the right, so it's kind of like a big L shape. And it has a little courtyard. See, pretty little courtyard with the upper deck that overlooks, and then this is the back of the home. I made a little pond. There's this funky little dip in the property, and since this is story mode, I couldn't change anything about it, so I decided to make it into a little pond. But just giving you a quick kind of aerial view, because I think this is always kind of interesting to see the whole gist of the house, if you will. So that's kind of here's what the whole house kind of looks like. So I thought I did a pretty good job of this house. So alright, let's do a little walk-see through. So obviously here's the driveway, so that's the front of the house. And then there's kind of this entrance here. I gave it a little doorbell. Ding dong, coming in. And then so there's kind of this covered entry, and that's a door into the garage. And remember, we've always said garages are kind of boring, so the garage has a door in kind of a mudroom, and then this is like a side door to the side of the house. So not a whole lot there, but good access to and from the garage. So then you come into the courtyard. This is the spot I kind of had the most fun with, was making this little courtyard, and it's designed after what it looked like online, kind of, to a point, as much as I could. And I had to kind of embed this fountain in the wall to try to replicate that there's a supposed to be a water feature here coming out of the wall. I did as well as I could. And then this is kind of as you can see, it's kind of detached guest room, so it's you can use this space for anything you want, but I decided to make it like a little guest room. There's a little desk and a dresser with a TV, and then I did this cute kind of wall decoration with the inset shelves and kind of replicating all these little half arches that are throughout the home, pretty much. Then you come in, and there's a little walk-in closet. It's a nice guest house, honestly. If you were staying at someone's house a long time, this would be quite nice. So, and then you've got like all the little built-in bathtub and shower, and has little curtains to cover, and then there's just a little bench and a sitting area with some storage, and then this is the little spot where the toilet is, and there's a window with a drape. And although I kind of feel like this window being right above the shower is probably not an ideal situation, but whatever, that's how the floor plan was, so I tried to stick to the floor plan on this one. And I thought this as a guest room was pretty nice. It's a nice guest room. If you were staying at someone's house, that would be a lovely place to stay. So then you come in, and this is the only weird part. Like, is there a front door? Like, is that the front door? Does that count as the front door? There's a couple different other doors. You'll see. So, like, I would imagine this would be kind of a main entrance to the house. So you'd come in here, and then there is a little powder room that I made. So I thought this was kind of nice and cute, and kind of goes with very much the theme of this house is kind of these green tones. So green and white is kind of the color scheme here. So, and then you come in this way, and there's a stair to go up to the next level, of course. And there's a little built-in pantry. I made a stab at trying to make a diagonal-ish angled wall, but learned that you can't put the moldings on the angled wall, so that's a little annoying, but whatever. So then this is kind of the entry from the garage. You can come in, there's a little drop area where you can sit and put on your shoes or whatnot, and then obviously this is kind of also the laundry, so there's a washer, the dryer, and a general storage for your cleaning supplies and stuff. And then this goes into the kitchen, and the kitchen kind of has this little divided space in between with the island and countertops, and so you have kind of this nice, it's a nice, good, functional kitchen, I think, and there's a window to look out to the yard, and a big fridge, and then kind of has this built-in breakfast table. What do you call these? Like, little eating area. So, and then all of these doors open out to the patio. So it'd be probably a nice party house. You could open all these doors and people can come and go from the courtyard. Then there's a dining room, which is not terribly big or formal. So I didn't do a whole lot there. And then this is another door, which I guess could also be considered the entrance door. And this one does have like a little closet, so this would be a good spot, I guess, if guests were coming over. There's your little coat closet, and then this is the living room. And we'll get over to this side because this is kind of the image that I had online that I tried to replicate as well as I could from. So I like the coffer ceiling, and then just the couch, a couple little chairs that I had to kind of cobble together with bits and pieces. I wish they would have a chair like this in the game, because I feel like that's a pretty standard type, what do you call these, slipper chairs that people would use, especially for like staging home. And then this is the back deck, which has a nice little seat and, just the typical kind of outdoor stuff. There's a spot to eat. There's a grill. I gave it a hamburger and hot dog. So, the idea of, then just some basic, trees and flowers to make it pretty. And then there's a little seating area for entertaining with a fire pit. And, again, just general stuff along this way. And then there's the pond. So, like I said, it was there was this weird dip in the back of the house, so kind of just had to integrate it as I could. And then you come out this way, there's a little seat, little swing, little seat, you can sit and just enjoy yourself. And then this goes along the back of the courtyard. I should have made this like a way to get in and out, but I liked having the full, like, little built-in flowers like they had in the design. So, and then there's a little spot to sit here, and I would think that possibly if they'd had it in the game, I could have put like a projector and a screen here, and this would be maybe a cute little outdoor movie theater spot to just sit and relax. So, and then that's to the front of the house. So that's generally the back of the house. I tried to fill it in. I feel like my landscaping skills in this game are very, very lacking, because I generally not quite sure what to do or how to make something look more designy. But alright, so here is the master. So you come in, and the master is a very large master, and again, I tried to, this one had an image, so I tried to keep as close to the image as I could. So, big bed with, a couple nightstands, some pictures, and again, I had to kind of cobble together a little slipper chair out of some cushions and pillows, and it just has a dresser and a little seat. And then there's two walk-in closets. So this one's, two really nice walk-in closets. This would definitely, I think, translate well as a his and hers type thing, or, as we say, both would belong to the woman, and I guess the man would maybe get to use the dresser. I don't know. And then there's the bathtub, then a big shower, then double vanities, and then a little spot for the toilets. And I didn't add too much decoration to this space. I probably should have, but I just felt like I wanted to keep it pretty simple, And then there is another stair up, and then this goes up to, like, this was listed as like a study. Now, I would think if you were designing this house and you wanted it to be another bedroom, you could just slap a wall along here, like from this wall to that wall, and make that into another bedroom, or even there's enough space to make it into like a junior suite. But I just kind of set it up as like a more less formal living room kind of space. And then this is listed as a storage space, so I just kind of threw some. I kind of feel like this is, like, to me, yeah, I could use a room like this, but I would think most people having a family home, would you really want a big, long storage room like this in a space like this? Wouldn't you prefer to have it as more square footage to the house? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But then there's a couple different doors here out onto deck, so you kind of have this deck it's really nice. It kind of overlooks the courtyard, and it kind of connects all the bedrooms and the spaces up here. So I thought that was kind of a nice little thing. And then you come down this hall, and then here is the first of the spare bedrooms, or extra bedrooms. There's 2 bedrooms up here. So this one, again, I found an image online that I kind of tried to replicate. And so I thought this turned into a pretty nice room. And you know, it's got a little wardrobe, bed, little, you know, desk and or vanity, depending on who might be staying or living here. And then there's a little upper balcony deck kind of area. So I give them a little seat with a mug and a book. And you know, I thought this was, you know, pretty nice space. And then there's also a door out from this bedroom to the deck, and you know, it's pretty nice. It's pretty, I think, pretty functional. A nice little deck off the back of the house. And then you come in here, and now both of these bedrooms are connected by this Jack and Jill style-esque bathroom. So again, I kind of tried to style the bathroom after something that I found online, and I thought the bathroom turned out pretty nice. You know, it's got all the bits and pieces that you need, although I kind of feel like this probably would be better if I made it into a shower and tub type thing. But you know, there's the way into this bedroom, and then there's the way into the other bedrooms. Then we'll go into this bedroom. Let's go from here, and again, I found a pretty nice bedroom that I thought was worth trying to replicate online. So it's kind of the general shot of that room, and I like the colors. You know, I kind of kept it mostly green in this house, but the 2 upper bedrooms, I did kind of a blue and cream, blue and yellow, or blue and white. So, you know, it's nice. Again, nice spare bedroom. I felt like I didn't want to do the obvious, here's the boys' room, here's the girls' room. So I kind of tried to keep them somewhat neutral. Like this could be for anything or anyone, or, you know, however you want to use it. Or, you know, you can just, you know, make it a boys' or a girls' room as you wish. And then there is a space at the end of the hall here for kind of a built-in desk, study, office. So I just gave them a little seat. Then I built the desk in, and there's a couple chairs and some, you know, supplies and whatnot, and like a chalkboard and a corkboard and a little printer with some extra storage and a laptop and some like arts and crafts supplies. And so I thought this would be, you know, kind of a nice usable space if you needed a little area. And then there's a little planter that I built in because there was kind of this awkward spot at the top. I did change the floor plan a little here because there was supposed to be like a closet down below in this kind of little area, and I thought this is going to be too small to really be viable. And then I didn't like the idea of having this wall go all the way up to the ceiling because I felt like it would kind of block your view of these pretty windows. So I just decided to not build all the way up and just put a little planter there to kind of, you know, don't go over here and, you know, fall to your death down the stairs, right? Like, it made sense to me. But, you know, that's basically the home. I thought this one was, you know, kind of a lot of fun to put together, and I thought it turned out pretty nice. And yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes when we try to sell this one and see if it sells for much. I think I spent more than I probably should have. I certainly have been working on it for a while, so let's see how it does. Oof. Well, I think that's pretty good. $371. Yeah, pretty good. All right, well there it is, and then we'll get some before and after photos. They might work on this. I don't know. The before was quite different. It was the Trevor's Mansion, I think it's called, a very modern kind of 2-story home. So we'll see if these before and after photos work at all. So there, see, very modern. Now it's kind of this European courtyard home. Some of these might work. We'll see. Yeah, it was very messy, of course, as they do in this game. But yeah, I really do wish you could like say, this is where I would like the camera to be so it takes a more reasonable photo instead of like, here's a photo of a wall. Right? That's not terribly helpful. But yeah, obviously the house turned out quite different than what it started as, right? But I had a lot of fun with this house. It was big, but I had a lot of fun with it. And looking forward to the Scooby-Doo DLC, which is coming out soon because it's supposed to have some new items. Because I think I'm finally really getting a little, I'm ready for some new assets to play with, to decorate and design rooms and furnish rooms with, because I feel like I'm using the same things a lot, which is not terribly helpful. But alright, there it is. So that's it. Have a good day. Hope you enjoyed. Maybe it'll inspire you. Thanks. Bye.